Well, it's certainly advanced. I mean, they keep working at it. I mean, there's no sign that they've stopped. The problem has been is that the efforts to engage with North Korea and the efforts to do things that would slow down their progress haven't worked very well. And Patrick was talking about that. And so and Philip pointed out that there seems to be continuity of policy. So I think the challenge is how do you, one, slow down North Korea's program, and two, engage them. I mean, it shouldn't be in a way that we go through a cycle like this again, where they test, we engage, it falls apart, they test again. But the U.S. is going to have to work with its allies to find a new approach, because if you don't engage, then it's probably going to be a very tense situation, and North Korea has made it clear it's going to keep moving forward on this nuclear weapons path. And so I think you have to engage as one part of the strategy to stop further advancements. At the same time, we have to learn from the past, and that we also have to have a pressure track on North Korea that's going to involve sanctions. And initially, those sanctions are going to have to be oriented towards stopping some of North Korea's worst behavior, such as buying what it wants for its uranium enrichment programs, its nuclear weapons programs, and there's ways to do that, and those methods have hardly been deployed in the case of North Korea.
I think that more of the same is going to result in more of the same. I think we've lost a significant amount of time over the last 10 years under both Republican and Democratic administrations, and I think it was based on a notion that if we continued to try to break that cycle that we were just talking about. So we haven't been successful going about doing that, and I think we have to go back to the tried and true, which is a combination of pressure track as well as a benefit track, and you have to engage. I think that ultimately there is nothing we can do if the North Korea short of force, and that would be a huge cost to stop North Korea from doing what it wants to do on the nuclear front. And so we've got to figure out a way to try to persuade them to see that their interests are in a different direction. So this is going to be a huge challenge, but I think now is the time. If we just accept the fact that North Korea is not going to give those up, it's sort of an odd conclusion. And in fact, we are de facto accepting a nuclear North Korea, and that is something that I will not concede at this point, nor will I accept.
Just building on the unacceptability of this pathway of greater nuclear proliferation and missile proliferation on the part of North Korea, it is a growing threat. It is changing the game over time, even if it's a slow game changer, because there's no one defining event that gives them this instant capability. But because of their collaboration with Iran and their willingness to sell material and know-how to the Middle East and elsewhere, this is not just a problem in Northeast Asia, but even in Northeast Asia alone, a growing nuclear and missile capability on the part of North Korea means a growing likelihood of an arms race in space, missile, nuclear technologies in Northeast Asia. And that cannot be good news for China and the United States or Japan and South Korea. So this is a dangerous problem, and I think where we've had a defensive containment strategy in hoping for engagement to work, that's not, as David and Philip explained, that's not brought any fruit lately. We're going to have some more offensive pressure mixed in here to show the Kim Jong-un regime that this kind of provocation brings greater vulnerability rather than invulnerability in insurance to North Korea. And I think we can do that, and we can talk about that.